Because most often when we get into parenting, our general thing is giving instructions. Do this, do that, sit down, complete this. And we get so caught up in that instructions is a way of life and the child shuts down. And my PhD thesis was to see how we don't give as many instructions but focus on having interactive sessions with children so that their learning happens. Because you are the main people with them and they will always come back to you. I'm 50 years old and I still listen to my mom, which is so funny because she would say what should be the wisdom basically, and we need to really appreciate what they're saying. And when we look at our children, we find that, do they really respect us? I really admire that grandmother. It's not whether I know, you know. It's to share and to find out what works best. Because we are in the field as psychologists, as individual counselors, we often see what goes wrong. Not just from child's point of view. I have adults coming, and when we talk about them from early childhood, we know something didn't work out right, and that's why they have a problem. So for us, childhood is the most precious, important part that parents can give for their children. And we are very privileged. I mean, I would say I'm very privileged, the kind of parents I have, the grandparents I have, who have given unconditional love. When I talk about this term to my husband, he's ex-Jnana Prabodhini person, he's a Menson, very eccentric. It's because I've done clinical psychology, I know that he's not mad. So I think he's eccentric. So the thing is, I say my love for you is conditional. Yours has to be unconditional. Why is so? Because we find it very difficult to continue to give that kind of love in spite of the mistakes and problems that children put across to us. We get angry, we get upset, and says, how can this child be mine? You know? To go beyond that and say, I still love this child, takes a lot. And that, I think, somewhere down the line, we seem to have lost, not because we are not capable, because we are too busy and that's not our priority. Which section or slice is the largest for you? Home management, children. And which is the smallest one? Leisure and career. Okay, some said career, leisure. Why do we work so hard to have some time to ourselves? Am I right? Personal time. And when I have personal time is when I can give more. So this is something for you to reflect, how you can change that pie where the slice, the smallest, which is yours, has more space. And I'm telling you from experience, if you look back into your lives and say, where do you spend most? Your mother's hot rotis or her spending, hugging and spending time with you? You remember hot rotis only when you go to a hostel or far off place. Otherwise you don't remember food so much. But we spend a lot of time on keeping a house proper, giving food. I'm not saying that's not important. What I'm saying is in priority, some days the house can just be the way it is. But I'm going to sit and spend time with my child. I'm going to participate and do games and activities and talk about whatever things that we experience. So that's really very important.
Minimum instructions to the children on studies, on making friends, like whom they should make a friend and they should not play with, what should be their hobbies and how should they, which kind of a games they should play.
I feel a good parenting skill, one would be very approachability. Whenever your child wants to talk to you, just give time. It may be something very senseless for us, but it makes a lot of sense for them. So just being there and listening to them makes a lot of difference. And this I found that my dad was always there, my parents were always there for me, and so were my grandparents. So when you just, it's something silly, maybe it's a toy, it's something about a TV program, or it's something about your friend. It may not actually matter to them. It may just be a small argument that you had with your friend or a sibling or anything. But just being there and listening to them and saying that I will take care of it makes a lot of difference and instills confidence in us as well. Thank you.
Emotionally stable.
Emotionally stable, okay. Pardon me? Happy, okay. Prepared for life.
I would say responsible.
Responsible. Okay. Good human being. Confident and compassionate child. Okay. Self-dependent. Thank you. Thank you so much. I think that's brilliant. Why? Because this is something the child has to do. Self-dependent. Rest of it, we have to stop giving idealistic statements actually. It's a lot of pressure. Yeah? Because we ask ourselves, where are we? Today I'm happy, tomorrow I'm miserable. It's just like the weather. Yesterday it rained heavily, today it's lovely. Yesterday my mind was cloudy, today it's bright. But my child cannot have all those weathers. He cannot show a temper tantrum. He should always be smiling and loving. Should always put the things properly. Should always listen to things that he or I say. The towel should be put in the laundry. The bags should be kept properly. Don't speak loudly. Speak, I'm here only. We don't realize. Yeah? And you know what, from the child's point of view, God, how many times I've given in different ways that this doesn't work with me, don't they get it? And they're saying that they're adults. I think I understand it better. You know why I scream? Because I feel you're not hearing me. You know why I'm showing a temper tantrum? Because I feel this is what I want to do. We are not able to understand where the child is coming from. And that's why there is a problem when we need to communicate with the child. What do you want to be? You want to be a coach. Why? If you become like a grandmother, what will happen? Lad, pyar, dyun, kai karnar apan? Yeah. And that's a good example? No. So that we don't want. Grandmother right now. Grandmother can do that role. Military? Too hard. What will happen if you are too hard? They will rebel. Bond may not get created. Okay. What does the child do? You impose rules. There is only one right way. My way or no way. That's the only thing we do. And use force, pressure, punishment. You're rigid, make decisions, rules, demand compliance. All this beautiful stuff. So I come across a lot of people who say, I'm not like this. Okay, because this looks ugly and I can't be that, right? This means I'm a very bad parent. I can't be this. And they will be doing exactly that. Okay? And I'm amazed. And they'll smile and tell me, but if I don't put pressure, how will my child understand? Okay? And then they will talk about he or she needs punishment. I'm not going to let him or her go to the birthday party because he doesn't deserve it. Okay? Or I'm not going to take to an XYZ place which the child wants to go. Making all the decisions because I feel the child is incapable of deciding. Okay? And last is expecting compliance, because I'm the parent, you have to listen to me completely. When you have that kind of parenting, what happens is this. The child becomes fearful, rebellious, low self-esteem, low confidence, and dependent. In this lenient parenting, what really happens? Have you seen people what they do? You just let them be. I know of parents who say that 3 साल का बच्चा उसके हिसाब से कर रहा है, let him or do whatever he wants. Okay, he goes and grabs somebody, goes in somebody's house, pulls certain toys, breaks it. They'll just keep quiet. नहीं बच्चा है ना, तो yes, he is a बच्चा, but he doesn't know right and wrong. Can you guide? One thing is we'll scream, don't do it. Then the child will do it. Or we will say that, rehne do. Both doesn't. One is strict and one is lenient. Instead, I walk along with the child and say, let's say how to do it. This is how you play with the toy. This is how you keep it back into the basket. This is how you read a book. So you share with them, walk along with them. Okay? So here the child is given more power. He or she can do whatever he or she wants. No rules, structure, it leads to chaos. You know what I find such parents, it really brings tears to my eyes, because you have a potentially very wonderful kid, like how he's saying, a very smart kid, but is using power for destruction. And we are allowing that because we feel he or she should find out. He or she is not going to find out. Coming to the one that we feel we should. So imagine us to be like the sports coach. We have to give them a purpose of life. Okay? So right now the purpose of your children is what? Can anybody tell me what is the purpose of their life now?
You learn things.
Yeah, to learn things. Prepare for future. So that's now the life is of a student. I have to learn things. Learn academically and personally. So academically, I'm going to learn how I need to respect and enjoy learning. I didn't use the word studying. I said learning. And also learn about how I need to behave and participate socially and emotionally with others. Today, we have kids, when we go to others' house, know how to interact, because we go. We don't just visit like many people do nowadays, is go not connecting to people, to places. We went to a mall, we went to walk in the street there, we went shopping. So these are not social skills. The social skills come when I go and stay in somebody's house. When I spend 2-3 hours in their house and I look, her pattern is different from mine, and I'm observing and we talk that auntie ni छान असं केलं होतं तू बघितलंस का ते काकाने असं केलं. So they're learning, oh, this is how I'm supposed to observe and talk, right? If I have a difference of opinion, I go inside, talk with the father, and we come back and we make. Or the parent have to learn to respect each other, even if the one of the parent is wrong, even if the father is right now giving लाड पर, उस टाइम पे जाके ऐसे क्यों कर रहे हो, मैंने तो उसको पहले ही बोला है. Let that whole thing happen. Go aside and say, next time I would like that I deal with this myself. Or we discuss it and then do it. There are only two ways. Even if you make a mistake, it's okay. Parenting is trial and error. Nobody gets it right, because every child is so different. What works for you will not work for you. What works in your house may not work in your house, right? So for that combination to take place, what we need to do? We need to come to a consensus. Even if you make a mistake, it's okay. The thing that we are scared of is that I make a mistake, and for that I want my husband, or my husband wants the wife. It's okay. they have to learn that we make mistakes. Yeah, so that's fine. And they say, I made a mistake, and I can say I'm sorry and ask forgiveness, because that's what they're learning. Not a brave front or a chaotic situation where everything is discussed in front. Now, this is a very interesting thing that I need to talk about: trust. Trust and faith. If we don't trust our kids, who's going to trust? Okay? And I've had parents who will say, I trust my child, and will be looking into the bag to see, kuch lafda hai kya? Kisne kiska, you know? They will say, but I have to know, right? Because she is not telling me. That means the child always senses, the children know. As much as you people, somebody said manipulation, no? Very clear, they're very smart, they know, they can sense it. Today my parent has looked into my cupboard. Today my mother has looked into the bag. They know it and they don't like it. And in their mind they say, she doesn't trust me, I don't trust her. Okay? So if I have a problem, whom do I go to? Not you. And we don't know whether they are the right people or not. So how to handle controlling? First and foremost is no comparison. Comparison with our child with another child. You did before like this and now I don't know how, what went wrong. You were very nice when you were in pre-KG. Atta mait nahi kai zala. Are pre-KG mother, that kid didn't know anything at all. But now the child has learned language, has learned logic. He's your son or daughter. He's smart. If you're smart, he's smart. So he has to use the skills. Whom is he going to use to? Not neighbor, uncle and auntie, to you. So you have to look at it as an opportunity that he or she is practicing and not look at it as a fighting scene. Oh, they're fighting with me, now I will show who is powerful. That's control. Instead, you have to look at it as that this is the ground that person is trying. I have to see how I can navigate, coach, guide them to a better, positive way of doing it. Again, different ways of showing trust and faith. I know a lot of parents come to me for that. You just have to bite, gulp, put it aside the disappointments and expectations you have and say, this is my child or my daughter and I am going to love him or her in spite of this mistake. You can't say, if they lie, let's say, मेरा बच्चा झूठ बोल रहा है, मेरा बच्चा, अरे मेरा बच्चा ही है, there is no doubt, झूठ बोल रहा है, that's it. Don't let's dramatize the whole thing. Okay? And says, अभी झूठ बोल रहा है, क्यों झूठ बोला? Let's work on that. How to build openness instead of looking at the wrong. And that is where parenting becomes wrong. When we ask the wrong questions, we have to ask the right questions. Okay? So communication gets completed only if you practice all four. Okay? We do this and this and we stop. I have understood, I'll take over from here now. It doesn't work like that with children because then they don't know how to do the rest. Yeah? So we need to give feedback. We need to ask for feedback. Both is really very important. I have certain situations in a card. Okay? And I'm going to give to each one of you. I want you to look at it, discuss for about 2 minutes, and due to lack of time, I might just call any group. You'll have to enact. And when you're enacting, you have to remember that you will be the democratic parent and use communication. You practice it in front, and we will see where you're going. Is that okay?
For the first time, I was fortunate enough to be a part of MPP program. When I came with a big baggage of worries and issues about my 5-year-old. And after attending the teen parenting workshop which we conducted today, I felt very light because now I came to know that this is a time I have to enjoy with him. I have to build positive communication with my kid, and all the insights from the parents and the resource person came were very very helpful on my own capabilities, how I should be building up to actually raise a very positive and confident kid. So it was definitely enriching session and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you.
Hello, I am Vishal. I've been attending the MPP programs regularly, and today's session was more about interacting with teenager child and how can parenting work for a teenager child, and there were some really good difficult situations also discussed in the session. So I like the way the democratic parenting works. There is a lot of things that were not known to me that I got to realize or got to know now, and I will start practicing those and see if those works with me and how the overall interaction with my teenage child happens after these sessions. So it was a really wonderful session and a lot of learnings, and some key takeaways would be how to be a democratic parent in tough situations, how to be listening them with deep listening, and how to really understand and narrate it in a proper way about our understanding and providing the right feedback. So this was a really helpful session, and thanks to Devasena madam for arranging this session. Thank you.